We approach the season 2 finale of Dark Side of the Ring as they are revisiting the Owen Hart tragedy. They released a trailer for the season finale. Again, incredibly well made documentaries. This one is going to tear open a lot of old wounds, and there's going to be, I feel like, unfortunately, the very negative portion of the internet wrestling community is going to be knives out for Vince McMahon and the WWE trying to fully blame them for Owen Hart's tragic passing all too young. And my heart goes out to Martha and everything like that. And she has every right to feel however she wants to feel. But there is this portion and population of the wrestling community that I feel like is going to be very unfair in their criticisms of Vince specifically as we move into the season finale, Dark Side of the Ring. So as we talk, I just wanted to highlight the fact that on the one hand here we have this pantheon, this pillar of the wrestling world for so many years that has this love, respect, affection, and trust for Vince McMahon. What's your sort of feeling going into the season 2 finale here?
It's like you said, open up some old wounds. And from me as a fan perspective, you and I were talking before recording. You and I both watched that pay-per-view live, and I still remember clearly watching it. And I remember, they were playing the we call it the preview video, setting up the match, like what's going on between Owen Hart at the time and whoever he was facing.
Godfather, I believe, for the Intercontinental Championship, if memory
Yeah,
serves.
yeah, he was as the blue,
The Blue Blazer.
Blue Blazer. Yeah. So I remember that video package was playing, and it was kind of dark, and then they just cut to Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler, and they both just looked like saw ghosts, or they were just completely shocked. And I remember clearly saying they're both like, and they're trying to quickly on the fly think of what to say, and they're trying to explain what happened very vaguely.
Yep.
All that, like I remember sitting there like, what's going on, what happened? And and then they said it was an accident, and I'm sure Darkseid will maybe have that footage that they can replay.
Yeah, I remember that vividly too. Just God, as we're talking about it, it sort of taking me back to that moment.
Yeah.
Again, it was a tragedy, but yeah, I remember vividly when Jerry was at the ring, and it just, I don't know how you felt about it, but what I would do for WWF pay-per-views at that time is, it was the typical, it was a pizza party and the WWF pay-per-view and stuff like that. So I had friends over there watching it with me, and not all of them bought in right away that it was real, because we're younger, we're watching wrestling, and they thought it's all a show and stuff like that. I felt immediately, I was like, dude, this is awful. Like something really, really bad happened.
Shocked and numb.
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember vividly the night after the tribute to Owen and everything like that. So this is going to be a very, very sad episode. I mean, the death of Owen Hart is one of just the all-time saddest things to, of course, ever happen to wrestling. And I guess I reflect more on how he positively impacted so many wrestlers' lives. And when you hear people talk about him, it's always so reverently, and they loved his wit, how helpful he was, how much he loved his family, and everything like that, and how much he loved wrestling.
Yeah, and on a quick side note, I know Chris Jericho, I think it was released today or this weekend. He actually did an interview on Talk Is Jericho, his podcast, with Martha Hart. So I haven't had a chance to listen to it and hear what they discuss, but I'm sure it's a preview for the episode and probably gotten some other things as well. So I'm like you as far as, everything I watch or listen, you got to kind of keep an open mind. And I'm sure this episode is going to try to sensationalize the situation, the incident, and definitely there's a narrative they're trying to tell there. And so definitely just try to keep in mind what happened. But I'm hoping and I'm assuming JR is going to be on this episode because he's been on other episodes and he's not under contract with WWE. So I would assume he'll be on there. So I would love to kind of get maybe an updated perspective or hear what he has to say about the incident, because he was right there when it happened. Jerry Lawler probably is not going to be on the episode. He's still under contract with WWE. So I really want to hear from Jim Ross. And like, that's the thing. It's happened, what, 21 years ago now? So it's, it for me, as you said, as fans, we lived through it, watching it, and then it's kind of, fell in the background of our lives, in the back of our heads for 2 decades now. So to kind of reopen that, kind of get an updated perspective or telling of that incident, I'm interested on that front. And so, like I said, just to hear Jim Ross's take about the whole thing and analyzing it and explaining it, that's one thing I'm looking forward to. So
yeah, it makes me wish that Bruce Pritchard was not back with WWE, so that he could be involved with this and maybe have a more balanced, or I guess maybe not balanced, but more the company's take on things to provide, because I do feel like, and I think JR will be maybe a little bit of the defender for Vince and the company here, a little bit, because it was just an unfortunate tragedy.
He was during the Benoit episode, I thought.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely. Yeah.
So I think so. Yeah.
So I think he might fill that role again. But it's going to be an incredibly sad episode. There's just no two ways about it. So we will see how that episode shakes out. But yeah, season 2, Dark Side of the Ring finale. Yeah, and then we'll see where they go and what they're going to talk about in season 3.